There we go. So we are recording. So good afternoon. I just want to really super quick kind of go over some of the cool stuff that we heard yesterday. Sorry, I'm going to move that a little bit. Just to sort of recap, talk about just all the different stuff. I have pages and pages and pages of notes, so I'm not going to keep you for 5 hours going over it again, but obviously Amber is here with me so we can stay on track. So just basically yesterday was it wasn't to take the place of Thrivepalooza. It was just to I think, just connect everyone and sort of go over some of the new stuff that's coming. So I think probably, and they just shared so much amazing information, super awesomeness. So some of just, I guess, kind of the quick things that I've been doing recently that were sort of reiterated during the training was how to connect with people like on social media. One of the amazing little tricks that's been working so well for me is just to go in and do like those custom conscious comments like Aaron King was talking about last year and Thrivepalooza. So go in and like comment on 10 people's posts. And I usually look for ones that are not like shared posts, but that they're like actually something that they typed out themselves, if that makes sense. So I'll comment on it and then like half hour later, go back in and share a post, like a Lavelle post after that. And then also putting things in their story. So that's what I do. I'm taking 30 minutes in the morning. I think that was a Susan Kaufman thing. She's like, take 30 minutes, set a timer. So you're not getting lost in the scroll. Okay, set a timer for 5 minutes, do your comments, and then go back at the end of your time and then post something. And then those people that you're commenting on will go back and then they will see your posts that you do. So that's been super helpful for me. I've been getting a ton of engagement with that. Or even one lady was talking about like doing cooking demos, with your Thrive story, include that with it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's super fun. And so somebody that's probably a better cook than me could do that. But yeah, I mean, just to make it a fun thing, or doing the scavenger hunt like we did in the quarantine spring fling group. That was really fun. And I think a lot of people engaged with that, even though it was just in our group. So that was a good one. But just, oh my gosh, pages and pages here. What are some of the highlights, Amber, that you grabbed that were...
I think the biggest thing is just a lot of it was just more reminders, right? Getting a morning routine, making sure that you have a routine. One of my girlfriends told me a long time ago, because I felt like most of my morning was wasted because I was writing my to-do list in the morning, and and life was happening in kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it takes me 2 hours to actually get my to-do list written. And she goes, well, I write my to-do list at night when I'm in bed before I go to sleep. And I was like, huh. And so, it's kind of that, well, that's a thought. And so I started writing it, the night before, because typically at that point, the kids are in bed or, whatever, right? They're not bothering me. I don't have a bajillion things going on. I can literally just sit there. And so now, I go to bed with a notebook beside my bed. And that way, even if I'm one of those, if I start to fall asleep and I think of something, I'm like, oh, I need to remember this. So I roll over and write it down, but that way, when I wake up, what I need to do is already listed,
Right.
It's kind of like when you go work out or you go to the gym, you don't spend the first 20 minutes figuring out what you're going to do. You go and they have a schedule for you, right? Or you have it before you go and you have your list, and instead of have an hour, you're not spending 20 minutes trying to figure out what you're doing.
Right.
So I
think
that
is super important too. Yeah, just to write it down. I feel like I sleep better too if I just write those things down the night before. I just know that I'm going to expect that. So the other thing for me too is to actually put it in my calendar. I have my little reminders in my calendar. Okay, this is my 30-minute power hour or whatever, just put it there, and then you just know that that's what you're going to do. So
yeah,
I really like that though, the write it down the night before, or even just the week before. I've started doing that Sunday night and try and look at the whole week and put in my calendar the things that need to be done. So yeah, so definitely just being intentional with your time. There was so many good just reminders. Um,
Yeah, I think honestly that is the one of the big parts of this business, especially because a lot of people are, even if you're, right now we're in a crazy time, but in a typical time, you're working this business in between your life.
right.
So if you have it written down, if you have a list and you have to be intentional. So when you have, like, I'm just going to throw Michelle out there as an example, when she's in her normal life, not her COVID life, at the salon, right? She's doing massages. Well, if somebody's running behind or whatnot, she's got 5 minutes and she can pull up her list and be intentional and do something in that 5 minutes, and that's totally how I started this business, like I was sending messages in between. If I was done with a client early, then I was sending messages. If somebody was running late, I was like, I hope she hurries up, but at the same time, I'm going to send as many messages as I can. Just being intentional with the time that you have, and instead of like waiting and then going, man, I should have used that 5 minutes,
Right.
So, and even now with this COVID stuff, this new world at the moment, intentionally using that time, because let's face it, we can absolutely get lost in the scroll, right?
Oh,
Like
for
we
sure.
can go down a rabbit hole on Facebook just like that. And so we absolutely need to be intentional. Like, it's okay to scroll, but you've got, you know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to do my messages first and then I'm going to scroll. And
Right.
then maybe as you're scrolling, you're like, oh, Deborah, I haven't put her on my list yet. I haven't seen Deborah on Facebook. So I'm going to write Deborah's name down. And then and then you keep scrolling and then you see Stephanie Smith. Oh, Stephanie Smith. And you keep scrolling, right? Like you're making the list as you're scrolling. And now you have that list to go back to and start working with those people, start interacting with those people, getting those people back into your Facebook. Because more people are on social media right now than ever. So people are popping up. Like, I don't mean this weird or rude, but I literally and I always kind of joke about, oh, I thought so-and-so died. I hadn't seen him on Facebook in so long. Well, I really thought this one person had died. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if I had just heard, that it was high school, right? So I don't know if I had heard from a friend, something. So I really thought that they had died. And I saw him on Facebook. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck? Well, obviously he hadn't really died. Like, just nobody had heard from him in a long time. And so here he's now social media. He's on Facebook and he's alive and well and he needs to thrive. But you just never know, right?
Right. Well, and one of the tricks too, like since I've started using my stories, I was telling this to Brad last night, that on your stories, you can see who looked at your story. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. They never comment on my things. They never like my things, like when I do a post. But when you have them on your story, like, and they're like watching all the way through my story. So if I have 5 or 6 things on my story, I'm like, oh, look at that. And so then I send a message. I'm like, hey, thanks for looking at my silly stories. Oh my gosh. And blah, blah, blah. And engage in, like, one of those people I was telling you, I was like, oh, we just had a Thrive conversation because I was like, he is looking at my things. So, what I'm posting.
Well, and you can see too, like somebody may accidentally see your story, so you can see if like they viewed the first part of your story, but not the next ones. Right.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they don't go on your list and you don't have to message them about, oh, thanks for seeing my story, but you can, go interact with them and get them back into your feed. So,
absolutely.
And on Facebook stories, you can go to your archive and you can actually see all of your stories and all the viewers and everything else. Now on Instagram stories, you can go back to your archive, but you can only see the viewers for 24 hours, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, they're a little bit different. So, and I've been using Instagram too, which has been different. And that one, just that training you guys did on the Instagram last week or whatever it was. That was awesome. So I just had been using Instagram all wrong. And it's like, it's all about the hashtags. And I didn't realize that, like, you have to have those hashtags. And I have my 30 hashtags that I put on there each time. So put one post a day, but like several in the story on that one. So that was just totally different. So, so that's been interesting, just like talking with different people, and I'm getting interaction from people that I've followed that have never commented on my posts before. So,
Right.
So that was really interesting.
And it's funny because I am not a story watcher. I'm a scroller. And so there's so many people that just watch stories and they don't see your posts. So that's why you have to do both. But I'm trying to be more intentional on watching stories. I just feel like it's a big old time sucker. And so I'm trying really hard, you know, to really use that time if I'm watching the stories to make sure I'm writing names down on my list. I'm being intentional, you know. Those people are going to become my warm market relationships versus right now they're a cold market. Like, we may be friends and they may be watching my story, but I'm not quite sure how we became friends.
Right. I know there are some of those people I'm like, I don't remember how I met that person, but yeah, so that's been kind of fun. And sometimes I'll just send them that message. I'm like, hey, I don't remember how we met, you know, how do I know you? So, you know, and then that can, you know, create that conversation too, that interaction. Yeah. So one of the other things that came up too repeatedly, like several different speakers, was those 3-way calls. And 3-way messengers. And I know we've talked about that before. One of the tips that I did like, and I don't remember who said it, was just grab somebody that's like a good friend and just be like, hey, can I practice with you? And like call them and, you know, still grab me, grab Amber, you know, whoever, and say, we're doing a practice 3-way call. Like, if you're nervous about it, just grab that person and say, let's do a practice one. Could you let me, you know, practice with you? And then go through it like a real 3-way call. So you know how it will go. So, you know, so you're comfortable with it. But I thought that was a really great tip.
I realized, I was like, you know, we have said that before, but I think it's been a really long time since we said that. And probably because 3-way chat, messenger and all that started becoming a thing once that option came about. And so I don't know if we just forgot to say, hey, practice with your sister or whatever. I don't know where that died along the way. But when they said that yesterday, I was like, we used to say that all the time.
Yeah, it was really cool to kind of catch all those little things like, oh yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. So that one's a really good one. Well, and just too that like I've never had, I thought it was so interesting. It was almost verbatim, like some of the things like we've talked about, Michelle or Debbie, and it's like, I've never had anybody say, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that you put me on the phone with Amber. She was so mean, or I can't believe that. And like, everybody's always like, oh, thank you for your time. Thanks for, you know, for jumping on and sharing that with me. Like, I've never had anybody be like, that was horrible. Why did you do that? So like, I think sometimes we just get that in our head that, you know, it's going to be awful to, you know, because if you ask somebody, can I get you on the phone with my friend? They're going to be like, no, because they think that Amber's going to be like that high pressure closer kind of person. And that's not how it is at all. Right. Exactly. Like, that's what they think it's going to be if you ask them if you can get them on the call. But so I just thought that was so funny. Whoever said that, I was like, oh, that's like verbatim what I've said to people. So, and I get it. It can be a little intimidating at first, but once you do it, then it's like, it's fine and it's not a big deal. So, let's see.
I will say something else. I just had it. Where did it go? So I love, and Kayla has said this before, and then Lisa said it again. Heck, they might have both said it yesterday too. But utilizing your customers, you know, one, to help them get it for free, but two, to just help extend your network. You know, when your customers are like, well, I don't know anybody, I can't get anybody, like, hey, let me write up a post for you, or actually just write up the post and then be like, hey, I wrote this, go post this on your page and tag me in it. And it's going to be something like, hey, my friend Michelle is looking for 2 friends that want to grow their hair out. Or, hey, my friend Michelle is looking for 2 friends that need better sleep at night, or that need better mental clarity, or that need more energy. You just pick a word, right? Or a thing, whatever. And they tag you in the post, and then you have to do the work. You have to monitor the post. You have to make sure, as people are commenting, whatever, and you tell your customer. So it's Michelle's customer, Amy, right? So Amy makes the post, hey, my friend Michelle's looking for 2 friends looking for more energy. And 4 people, oh my gosh, like seriously, these kids are wearing me out. I could totally use more energy right now, right? So then you're going to have Amy put you and each person in a message, and then you can talk that way. And then you could work it into a call if possible. If not, just do voice memo through Messenger. And you're treating those people as your customers, because they are your customers. And when they become Thrivers under your customer, Amy, they're your customers. Now you have 2 new customers, and Amy's getting it for free, and you do this on down the line. And you're basically using all of your customers, even your old ordering customers that they quit because they couldn't get it for free, right? You're reaching back out to them, and you're like, hey, I know you loved your Thrive, but I know money was tight. What if I could help you get it for free? I'll do the work. You just have to connect me to your people, and I can make it super easy. Will that work for you? Mm-hmm. So you're presenting them with the option. You're letting them know that you're going to do the work, and it's super simple. They just have to do one thing, basically, so,
right.
I
especially like right now at the end of the month too, if you can get somebody connected with 2 customers right now, then it's going to be not very far away that they get their credits and they can order their products. So
absolutely. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, I really like that one too. I've actually sent a couple of those messages out, so we shall see.
And right now, guys, check in with people. Like Thrivers, non-Thrivers, whatever. Check in with your friends. Like, some are okay, some are not. I'm a rule follower, and I'm a people person, and I'm literally like, I'm at my wit's end. I'm like, I'm done following the rules. Like, I'm a rule follower, and I'm done following the rules. I'm like, listen, y'all all got me grounded, and longer because nobody listened, and I'm done.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I'm just like, I'm obviously still going to follow the rules, but it's really stressing me out.
Yeah, it is. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And like, how can we work around that? So yeah, for sure. And again, and this whole thing is about, just creating those relationships. And that's just another way to reinforce that. Like, how are you, so to check in with your friends.
I'm saying that, like when I'm asking them, hey, I wanted to just check on you. How are you doing during all this craziness? How's it going over there? And, just, those people, right? If some you don't know, you just ask them how they're doing. Some you do know, or, hey, are those boys driving crazy yet? Have they tied y'all up yet? Like, funny, right? And one of my big things when they're like, yeah, we're hanging in there, or this or that. How are you? I'm like, honestly, I'm ready to be ungrounded. Like, that's pretty much my answer every time, because that's how I feel right now. Like, that's all. I'm like, somebody come get me. Somebody just take me out of my quarantine grounding and come save me. Take me to the beach.
Yeah.
It strikes up that conversation. They're like, LOL, no freaking joke. Like, so it strikes up more conversation when you're just, here's what I'm ready for, here's how I'm doing. Like,
right. Oh, for real. Yeah. And I think, and then again, it just shows that honest side, and people just really appreciate that. So, so kind of along those lines, when you're checking in with people, you're having those conversations, you're creating relationship, people are still getting on Thrive. Like, people are still hitting bonuses. I know you've said that a lot. A lot of people talked about that yesterday. There were several people that were like, have hit, like, started thriving and hit 80K in the last month or whatever, so I mean, just crazy stuff is going on. So super cool. They did, one of the announcements that they made yesterday was just that they changed up. So before, it was the iPad bonus when you hit 4K in your first 30 days. So obviously we're all past that 30 days. They did say they we'll offer that later to people that have already passed that window, of course. But but they changed the iPad bonus to Maui Jim sunglasses, which I know not everybody is like a glasses nerd, but I'm like, that is such a cool thing. So like, cause that can, and he said it was like any, whatever, like you get a certificate and this will start on May 1st.
So most likely they'll have a website, a Maui Jim Lavelle website, right? Like so I don't know that it'll be every sunglasses on Maui Jim's website, but he said there will be a specific for Lavelle and you'll get to pick any glasses from that website.
And you'll be able to put a prescription in it too, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I was like, oh, yeah. So, and that's something that for me, when we started, and I think all of y'all came in after, originally they were mailing out iPads. I actually got, so it was like back and forth. There was a time they couldn't keep up. So they were sending Apple gift cards. And so like I got a gift card, but then other people were getting the iPads. And so then they caught up and were mailing them out again. Well, then it just got to be like, so obviously so much on Apple and trying to get from Lavelle to Apple to send to Janelle to send to, to send directly that iPad. So they started doing a cash bonus. So if you hit the 4K iPad, well, now you just get a cash bonus. But what I really feel like the reason they got away from that and they're like, we're partnering with Maui Jim now is because that was a huge social media thing when everybody was getting their iPads in the mail and they were able to show it, right? Because you can't show, I got $400 deposited into my bank account or $300 or whatever. I got $299 put in my bank account because I hit an iPad bonus. Like, there's no excitement in that. There's excitement in this box like with an iPad when these Maui Jims come in the mail, you're going to see this social media explosion and people are going to be like, oh, what? You got sunglasses?
Yeah.
We're beating it at 30 days and hitting the goal? Like,
right. Well, and they're super nice. They're super nice sunglasses too. So that was, that's really cool. Yeah, exactly. But so people will be able to see it. And who doesn't want to show off their new sunglasses that they got, especially when they're nice ones like that.
Okay. I'm going to touch on a couple things real quick just because I was looking at them and I know we have less than 9 minutes. So one thing I love, Rodney Foster, he said you need to visualize and know. He didn't say visualize and see where you're going. He said you need to visualize and know that you're going to be where you want to go. And so it's that, like if you're working out or you have a goal, like you visualize yourself. Why do you think in magazines they always show all these hot body, women in bikinis and whatever, because you see, I want that body, right? Like you have a goal. I remember one of my friends used to pin up those on her refrigerator every time she go to the refrigerator. She's like, I'm not going to look like Demi Moore if I keep getting in this refrigerator. So it was that visualize and know where you want to be, where you're going. Instead of visualizing it and then you're just kind of like, well, no, it's like, no, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do this. And then that triggers that memory of, well, how do I get there? And that goes into all the other stuff. But go ahead, Janelle.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, and I was just going to touch on, so the product reveal, they didn't, obviously because of the COVID stuff, the timeline got pushed back some. But he did say that it will be stem cell technology, something to do with capsules, something like the analogy that he made was like, if you have an 8-cylinder car, like, and one of those cylinders isn't firing on like it should, then you're just not going to run as efficiently. So in our bodies, that equates to we're aging. We start to see more signs of aging when those cylinders are not firing as they should. So it'll be some sort of revitalizing, I guess, would be maybe a good word. I don't know. We don't know exactly. He did mention the capsules, so that'll be super cool. And then there was something else about will be some sort of super hydration something.
Yeah, hydration technology. I'm really excited for that. I've actually been waiting for that for like 3 years. because in like sports industry and in the motocross industry, there's another company that they do have like the electrolyte type rehydration. I think it's probably even called Rehydrate. I don't know. But that was in that industry. That was one of the things I was asked all the time is, do y'all have a Rehydrate type thing? Do y'all have electrolytes thing? I'm like, no.
Not yet. So, and we know that we don't always have to be the first, but we certainly will be the best when it gets there. So, so yeah, so that's super exciting. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. I think that'll be coming here in the next month. And then just, let's see, so what were the two? Okay. So there's something coming in May. We will be super awesome. What we know about that is right now we have the GOAT incentive, I think, or GOAT challenge, whatever they were calling it. And that's basically, you need 1,000 PV before the end of the month. If you had an auto ship go through yesterday, then that counts towards that. So PV being your personal orders and orders of your personal customers. So, and I don't even think they necessarily have to be new customers. It was just.
No, they don't. So PV is different than PPA. PPA is brand new orders. So get that out of the way. PV is personal volume, which stands for your personal orders. Like I go and I place an order, or your customers' orders. So any of my customers that order count for PV, and any of my customers' referrals are my customers, so they count for my PV. And if my customers bring me new customers, those still count for my PV as well.
Right. So super simple. So what that does, if you get that 1,000 PV before the end of the month, so that's like a person a day, 3, and over 2 days, whatever. You just need basically 6 people ordering. What did we decide? 180? Is that what that?
Yeah, you need 6 people ordering the 150 pack plus Sculpt, which is $180 total. So if you have 6 people ordering that, then you'll hit it. If you just do the 150, you need 6.5 people ordering the 150 pack. So 7 people ordering 150, or 6 people ordering 180.
In other words, don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be like 20 people all of a sudden ordering. You just need 6 people ordering with you. What that will do is then
I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah.
About the 150 pack being the Thrive Experience. Well, the 150 pack, I don't have the other one here, but the 150 pack could be, the 3 Thrive Skin, that's 150. And then
or if you add
in charcoal.
Yeah.
Add in, they need a mask, so they need peptide gel. Like, it doesn't have to be. So there's options. I just know. And things that you can do. So go ahead, Janelle.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So, and what that does, so in the whole month of May, so we had that promo that was like a week-long thing where you got double on your commissions. You will get double of, I should have written down the exact words. What was it? 2 different things.
Retail sales, which is your customers and your promoters' customers. So your first 3 promoters in your downline, their customers. So that's retail commissions paid. So that'll be doubled in the month of May. And then also fast start. So anytime you or your first 3 levels of promoters have people ordering a promoter pack in the month of May, you're going to get double on what you would typically get on that.
Right. So for the whole month. So that's super duper awesome, super duper generous. And really pretty simple to get that, to grab that. So like I already have some, Brad has some, because, like I said, the auto ship orders that went through yesterday, counts towards that. So
I think the biggest thing is just don't stress, don't overthink. Right now, run with making those relationships. If your number one thing has been, I don't know anybody or nobody's ready, well, then you need to go meet new people. And you can't go out right now and meet people, but we have a lot of ability to meet people in groups and different things and just meet friends. You know, who do you friend? You friend people that you would normally go have breakfast with, or a glass of wine, or a cup of coffee, or whatever, right? Like if that girl's pretty funny, you're going to be like, dang, you're hilarious. I'm going to send you a friend request.
Right. Yeah. All those things. And again, just don't overcomplicate it. Facebook even, you know, has friend suggestions and stuff, you know, find those people that you have like 50 people in common with or whatever, you know, so, or mutual friends. So, but anyway, but with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up because we're about out of time here. And like I said, I don't want to keep you guys all day, but feel free to message with questions and we'll get them answered, and let's go do this because we totally just need to do it. Like, we just need to get people on Thrive because they need to feel as good as we do. Woo woo. So anyway.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you.